know, as I told you last week, Fred posted that he was looking for a place to read. And what better place to read than for us, right? Because we are the best audience in the world. Are we not?
Yeah.
Yes, we are. And, you know, a Kindle single is a short little thing, you know, and so I promise Fred that we are all going to buy his single, his single Kindle, his Kindle single, right? We are. Because getting a taste is not going to be enough because we want the whole thing. We want to read the entire thing. Yes, we do. Okay, and he has cards, by the way, which at the end of his reading, when we're in the break, he's going to give us cards where he can sign. So, because I'm going to tell you about Fred because a lot of you recognize him. Yeah, okay. So anyway, all right. I am a long-time fan of Fred's, and when I say a long-time fan, I found this out last week. I knew that I had met Fred a long time ago. I met my husband, Gabe Abelson, 26 years ago, and at that time, he was my stand-up teacher, and I used to go to clubs, and I actually met Fred a couple of times, and I don't know if he remembers, because I don't know. I do. I don't know if he remembers meeting me, but I did meet him numerous times at clubs and stuff, but it turns out, I found this out yesterday, that Gabe and Fred started out together when they were 16 at the Improv. Whoa. So it's been 38 years, a long time, a long, long time. That's just crazy. Anyway, okay. Do you guys recognize Fred, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do, because everybody knows Fred. Fred grew up in Brooklyn, and early on, he knew that the real world wasn't ready for him. Though pathologically shy, not a soul thought he was funny. I do not believe that. Oh my God. But he pursued stand-up anyway. It seemed an accessible way out. He's appeared on Late Night with David Letterman, The Tonight Show, and HBO's 13th Young Comedian special. He's also appeared on every sitcom known to man. Most notably, Everybody Loves Raymond, Our Phil, Seinfeld, and Friends. In feature films, he's appeared in Dumb and Dumber, Rebound, and Little Man. And most recently, he was in The Change-Up with our own Craig Bierko. Yeah. He wrote the independent film feature Fred and Vinny, which won the Audience Vanguard Award at the Austin Film Festival. Yay, Fred. I don't know where he is, but that's pretty exciting. Yay on Fred. Sometimes heroes are firemen. And sometimes they're funny boys who jump in to save the day. Ladies, please welcome my hero, Fred Stoller.
I'm sorry, I can't listen to that. That's that bio for like, that's supposed to be like an informal thing here. It's, this is hard. Everyone's so outrageous. Like the cheating, and I don't have as many people to apologize to. There was one woman where I just saw the movie Bad Boys. Remember the one with Sean Penn? And he put soda cans in a pillowcase and was pelting someone, and I didn't do that, but I'm Sean Penn from Bad Boys. Something funny about that. So that outrageousness. But excuse me. So basically, if you want to know what I'm talking about, and first of all, you don't have to buy it. It's $1.99. I'm not here like begging in the street. You know, you make it sound like, you know, it's this thing. Because I'm thinking of like talking. I don't know what to say, but basically, thank you. If you want to hear the chronology of this, see, I use big words. Does anyone excuse me, before did anyone ever hear of a Kindle single?
No.
I never heard of it till excuse me, about two months ago. To make a long story short, is there water, by the way? I have that thing that she woke up with. It is something. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. I used to be more of the guy that popped up from show to show, like playing a delivery guy or a clerk, you know. And And I never was a regular, so I thought I'm like a foster kid looking for a home in show business and life, you know, just hoping someone keeps me on. And, you know, it sounds like it's great, your show biz, but you're walking on eggshells, you can't flub lines, and you're around Raymond, and they're talking about what they're going to wear to the Emmys, and the houses, and, you know, and Brad Garrett's giving him shit, you make so much money, and he was making $300,000 a week. So I wrote this book called Maybe We'll Have You Back. The adventures going from show to show, and I got discouraged. I had some literary agents, but they wanted apologizing to women for having sex. No, they wanted gritty. No, I'm just kidding. They go, can't you make up sex if you haven't had it? Can't you do something? No. So, I'm just kidding. So basically, no, I got discouraged. I said, what the... You know, they said, we want someone more famous. And the joke, the bit was, guess not. So, they want something grittier, so, whatever. So then cut to, excuse me, many years later, this guy, I said, you know, I forwarded the book. And so I said, this is good. And I go, yeah, but I'm not the perennial TV guest star guy anymore, and you know, these shows are, you know, and so he goes, you know something, I know someone in this thing called Kindle Singles, and it's like these mini books. They're not quite a book, more than a magazine article, and one chapter in it was, I wrote on Seinfeld for a season, and it was like my favorite year, but it wasn't. It was just, you know, I was a misfit. Now you know Larry David. He was yelling at me, calling me a doomed loser. And I knew it. We went to the same high school, Sheepshead Bay High School. So he had this familiarity. Well, I don't know how to talk anymore. He was familiar, and he made me feel like shit. No, he was abusive. He was a bully. No, but all these Harvard writers. If he was me, he'd go, these fucking Harvard writers. But he liked them, and it was adventuresome, and so I could even maybe read it from, well, not the whole thing, but a part of it, and also it did really well. The last time I checked, it was the #1 Kindle single. Actually, no, the 80th last time. I don't look anymore. But it was #1 for a while, and the Kindle single page, it did really well. But, of course, I accentuate on the negative. People, they have the liberty for $1.99 to review it. Poor Fred. No one liked you at Seinfeld. Kramer used you. I have never read such a depressing and annoying work. I hope you can someday find joy in your life. And there was one person said 2 stars. I would have given it 5, but it was too short. Called the Kindle single. And, one guy said he would have liked it from someone else, one of the main size of Seinfeld, not the schmuck. And it was called My Seinfeld Year. Which is, you know, my experience. All right, and to show you how this works, I put it on my iPad, and I don't know how to do it so well. Basically, I learned to talk technology. How do I do this? Wait a second. I touch it, it goes. You download a free Kindle app for any computer, iPhone, iPad, and you buy it. Okay, see, that's a thing. And if I make postcards, and I don't have a book, but I can autograph your iPad or sign. I have postcards if you want a signature.
They can buy it in iTunes too, right?
I don't know if it's iTunes, it's Amazon. But if you want, I'll read a page or two of the introduction. Okay. I'm to the side of the set of the hit Disney teen show Wizards of Waverly Place. I'm playing a doorman of the apartment building Selena Gomez's character lived in. My character is supposed to break up a noisy party of zombies, wizards, vampires, and an ogle. My line is, no loud parties, and not only that, you didn't invite me, and I happen to be the life of the party. I didn't do it as good when I was on the show. And then I do a demented little dance showing how wild I am. Selena's teaching me how to do the Dougie, a dance her a boyfriend pop superstar Justin Bieber helped make famous. I cut my hand under my chin and then sway and contort my lanky middle-aged body. Well, here you can see it. I don't know how to say it. To the side as they say, lean and brush, lean and brush. I feel like a Gumby without the wires removed from it. Selena laughs. Of course, I wasn't supposed to be good. I was just supposed to do a moronic version of it. I head to the craft service table and munch on some cookies and other crap when David Henry, the 19-year-old hunk who plays Selena's brother Justin, comes over. David had been stressed that week. He was rehearsing and then going to auditions hoping to land a lead in The Hunger Games, a 3-part studio movie based on a popular book series. I remember giving him some advice about over-preparing or something, that at his level they don't judge him syllable for syllable at the reading. I also told him that paying an acting coach wasn't necessary. You're either the guy or not. Then I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. Wow, here I am, the 52-year-old guest star guy wearing a red Pee Wee Herman bellhop uniform and a monkey cap with a strap under my chin giving you career advice. You're 52, David said. I wasn't sure if he thought it was sad that at my age I was still playing the moronic sight gag, but I didn't look that old, or maybe it was just my own negative perception of his words. But he was very respectful. He thanked me for my helpful advice and headed off. I looked behind me and saw one of the writers had been watching that little exchange. "Oh, Fred, let me ask," he said, as if getting the nerve to ask me something uncomfortable. "Didn't you once write on Seinfeld?" He looked at me, shrugging his shoulders, holding his hands out as if to say, what happened? I had gotten that look, that question many times before. And this was a writer. That Seinfeld credit was supposed to change your life, your career, they thought. It was the ultimate validation. You're supposed to get deals, big agents, or at least opportunities after that. He would have killed for that writing credit. Yeah, I did, but didn't go that route, I suppose. Starting to get these acting roles went that way. He nodded his head, saying he understood, but I knew he didn't. With some writers, I get the feeling they're relieved I became the weird, quirky delivery guy, clerk, nebbish. It means one less aggressive writer for them to compete with. In sitcoms, I'm usually the jerky guy that delivers the package, or the guy at the deli that makes the sandwich the wrong way, or the guy at the sporting event who takes his job too seriously and doesn't let the star athlete in without their proper ID. Or I'm the sad sack. I've been the mopey relative the family's trying to help get a job, or the hypochondriac hanging out at a doctor's office, or the guy's too nervous to ask out a woman or even speak for that matter. When people stop me at the mall and demand to know where they know me from, usually it's as Elaine's annoying date on Seinfeld. All right, more credits, you heard that? So then basically, okay, I head over to the set where the prop master fits me for a heavy set of black wings. I have to wear them on my back. Turns out my jerky character morphs into the angel of darkness. The wings are heavy and I almost tip over trying to walk with them strapped to my back. The writer and one of his co-workers sees me stumble and they pass with a few sandwiches they've loaded up at craft service table. I laugh to myself. Not everyone gets it. Many times I don't. But sometimes I step back and realize that just the fact I'm on a TV show saying words with a dumb small hat strapped to my head wearing wings is a miracle, considering my past. And then I talk about the making of a guest star guy. Tell me when the time's up. I mean, because she said, very strict, this is like Vegas. I talk about my childhood and stuff. You're too depressed to be a comedian is the next chapter. My mother used to say. Well, you want to hear about Seinfeld stuff? Yeah. Okay. Well, do you want to? All right. I wasn't going to go to Steve's surprise birthday at first. I wasn't feeling that social, more depressing stuff. I thought I was painfully alone. Although I was painfully alone at the time, I do things like that. I'll moan to myself how isolated I am, go outside and see someone I know and then hide from them. It's not always because this person is the most annoying. Sometimes with some people, I just know what the conversation is going to be and I don't have the strength to relive it in real life after experiencing it in my head. What's been up, Fred? You know, plugging along, did a spot on Murphy Brown last month, and you? It was 1994, and there I was with 20 of my fellow stand-up comedians standing in the dark in Steve's living room in L.A. waiting to surprise him on his 37th birthday. Like most of the guys in the room, I'd met Steve excuse me, in 1980 in the New York comedy club scene. Most of us had been pushed out of that scene, which had boomed in the early 80s, peaked by the mid-80s, and busted by the early 90s. After getting stage time so effortlessly for so many years, it became too difficult to vie for the few remaining venues. Some of us had gone on to attempt lives away from the comedy clubs by pursuing sitcom writing careers. Some had intimate success, some had done very nicely, and others were just as in the dark about what to do next as they were standing in that unlit living room. About an hour after we surprised Steve, Larry David, the co-creator of Seinfeld, entered. Knowing Larry, I bet he planned on coming late so he wouldn't have to scream surprise. I was a little nervous seeing him there. I had known David, a stand-up turned Saturday Night Live writer, also from the New York club scene. And that at Seinfeld was a hit. I had written him a letter the previous year asking him to please keep me in mind if there were any acting parts on the show. I didn't feel awkward so much because he hadn't responded, but because I was possibly making him feel awkward. I worried that he would think, here's another one who has asked me for something and I have to acknowledge him. My interactions with him were always awkward. As he revealed years later on his HBO series Curb Your Enthusiasm, he's not the most socially adept person, and neither am I. If I did give him a compliment or even just attempt small talk, he'd grumble something and get that suspicious look on his face. Okay, one time I bumped into him at another party and he greeted me by saying, you don't have to shake my hand, and then he just walked away. As a stand-up, but at this party he was a little more open to me than I expected. He wanted to know about my dating life. In the past he had explained to me that I was doomed. You're a loser, you're a Jew from Brooklyn. He wanted to know when was the last time I got laid. I glossed over the subject. I said I wanted to have someone to tell me that a woman likes me and that by coincidence it's a mutual attraction. He said, that's never going to happen. You're too neurotic. He asked what I was doing with my career. I knew I couldn't fake confidence around him. It had been a while since my last job. He asked why I had not written a Seinfeld spec script like so many others had. That's why I hadn't, because so many others had. At the time, every aspiring writer was writing a Seinfeld spec script, and almost every civilian thought they had a premise for an episode. You write a spec script to show a sample of your ability. As a general rule, showrunners looking at prospective writers never read scripts of their own show. They know their show so well, they can pick apart an outsider's attempts too easily. I told him it was hard for me to find the incentive to write something I knew would never get made, just so I could have a sample of my writing. He insisted I write a Seinfeld script. He stressed several times that nothing would happen, but he would read it. I went home and thought about it, going back and forth, trying to decide whether I should bother. You know, but and I wasn't so sure about going the sitcom staff writing route. Although it had been 6 years since I'd arrived in Hollywood, I still dreamed of making it as a well-known character actor. Being a staff writer seemed like a whole other crapshoot. It could prove very rewarding financially, but the time commitment would leave me with nothing else to do. Then I thought about all those people who do anything for the opportunity I had been given, even though it was one where nothing will happen. I had heard that when Jason Alexander was a guest speaker at a Learning Act seminar, the place was packed with anxious writers trying to give him their Seinfeld specs. And just glossing over, I went home, I thought of stories, and, you know, and then stuff. I got on, I was on my own. Most shows are like aggressive writers. This you're on your own, in a room, I'm walking around bewildered, and so I'm sure it's over 10 minutes. But, this...
Can I go home now? Is that what you want to say?
What?
Is it please, I want to go home now? Is that what you say?
No, I don't know how to wrap this up. I haven't read this before. It sounds like I didn't write this the way I'm reading it. So it sounds like, and then this is a big word. Maybe it doesn't sound conversational, I don't know. But basically, I was on staff and bewildered. I got a storyline on. In real life, does anyone, not the soup Nazi, but the suit. In real life, this guy gave me an Armani suit. Well, he said it was $1,000. It turned out he lied. He went to some closeout sale. And he goes, you give me a meal for it, we're even. And then we went to Jerry's Deli, and he had soup. And he said, we'll save the meal for another time. And he did this like 3 times, and it, you know. So I pitched that, and they said, Larry goes, Jerry's more aggressive than you. He would say right away, that counts as the meal. So that was my thing. That was Kenny Banya, and that was my thing, the soup for a meal thing. And what else? In real life, I went to London when I did stand-up. I met a woman. We had fun. I flew her out, and it was like she gave the plane ticket to a woman that looked like her. It was a different way. Plus, she goes, you flew me here just for sex, and it's not like I'd meet a cool guy in London. Or something, you know? See, I could get like that guy. No, I'm just kidding. I don't remember details. So basically, no, someone else wrote. No, Kathy Griffin once came on to me in '92, and she goes, "I'm going to put you in my stand-up act." So I didn't know she was doing stand-up. I just figured out I'm in other people's apologies. So there's a bunch of women that are going to apologize to me. I just thought when they go, "It's okay, it's okay," I go, "Well, what do you mean it's okay? What about you?" You know, because you know what I'm saying. Meaning, you know, I don't know. I feel funny. But what the hell was I talking? So actually, I think Jerry had like not an ego, but it was hard to write for him because you couldn't. He didn't have flaws. You know, like that was hard getting my second story approved because. You know, George, I'm neurotic. You know, I could see things he does. Kramer's wacky, but Jerry, like. In my spec script, I had the thing about he flew the woman from London, but that makes him look loserish, and it was really hard. So that we gave that to Elaine, and then, yeah, it happened in real life. She'd get mad if I said what, and she'd go, "You're supposed to say pardon," you know. She was like English and proper. So, and then I had a story with the monkey. Do you remember that? Yeah. In real life in Florida, these grown men were throwing rocks at monkeys when I was a kid. And the woman goes, "What are you throwing rocks at monkeys?" The guy goes, "They started it." So we use that as the Kramer story. So, you know, so it's a story, and people ask me, "Oh, do you regret this experience?" No, because, you know, it was hollow and weird, but it was Seinfeld, and I got to do this thing, $1.99. I think if you buy it, I'll have the gas money to get back, much later. So, yeah, so again, this is, and, you know, we have a buyer for a one-man show there I'm auditioning for. And, yeah, so hopefully this went well. So thank you very much.
Fred Stoller! We're going to buy the Kindle single, yes? Yes, we are. Okay, what are we going to do now? We're going to buy books and CDs. We're going to get Fred to sign our